been feeling blue. My money is too. Shawty act gold till she seen it too. I've been feeling blue.
What's up, guys? Welcome to What's the Dealio. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of different things with a special guest. I am Siano, Sabre Real Estate, Sabre Business Exchange, and Scale Franchise Solutions.
And I'm Mike Steinberg, Hedgestone Business Advisors. And today we have such a special guest, Christian Rodriguez.
What's up, boys?
How are you,
What's
man?
up?
What's up, guys? How's everything?
Everything's great,
good.
brother. Tell the world about yourself.
Pleasure to be here. Yeah, what can I answer for you guys?
Well, we want to educate the community, man. So tell us about your background and how you got into business brokerage and what you do.
Yeah. So, long story short, I was working. Where should I start? So, yeah, I was going to school. Went to college. Dropped out. I wanted to be an actor.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wanted to be an actor, and I was starting to do like some vlogging, YouTube stuff, and then like I was at the same time I was working at a hospital, as you know. Working at a hospital, one day I was driving to work, had a car accident, and fast forward from that car accident, there was like a lawsuit and stuff, so I got a little bit of money, and from there I was like, I kind of want to do something with this. Like I want to turn this into something. I don't want to just blow this money that I came into, and then through that I started to kind of just research, right? Like it wasn't even a lot. It was like 30 grand. It wasn't much money, but I wanted to kind of use it to change things. So I just kind of started learning, listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of real estate podcasts, Bigger Pockets, just like diving in education, like really just, surrounding myself every day, just driving back and forth from work to just listening to podcasts, just learning about real estate and investing. And I wanted to be a real estate flipper. I wanted to flip houses and stuff. And so I just started to try to do that. I was like driving for dollars, trying to find houses and stuff. And then at the same time, I had a buddy who worked at Lifetime. Okay. One of my childhood friends worked at Lifetime, and
Shout out to Nino.
So he was working there, and he's like, "Hey, feel free to come by and just if you want, swing by." And so I went. I was going like at 5 a.m. just to shoot around. I played basketball. That's how I met Mike.
We're getting to the how you met Mike.
Yeah, how I met Mike.
Go.
Yeah. So I was going in the mornings. And pretty much I was playing, and then I had like 2 guys come up to me like, "Hey, we want to run a game." I'm like, "No, I'm just shooting around." I didn't really want, I was just going for cardio, just trying to work out. And they're like, "Oh, come play." I was like, "Oh, I don't really want to play. I'm good. I'm just shooting around." They're like, "No, come on, please." Another guy came around. He's like, "Oh, come on, please, come play with us." I was like, "All right, no problem."
Was that Matt?
Yeah, that was Matt.
That was Matt who works with us too.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt works. Yep. Shout out to Matt.
The man.
So I started playing with them, at the same time, as I'm like involving myself in the real estate world, just trying to learn, just try to go to networking events. And then, so I started playing ball with these guys, playing basketball. And turns out like, just, they're like, "Oh, come in the mornings, we play 7 a.m. I said, "No problem." And so I was going consistently, and then, kind of made friends with all the guys. I made friends with Mike, and it turns out like everyone there does real estate, so that was, I was like excited to kind of be around people, because like through listening to podcasts, you kind of learn like things I didn't know, like, surround yourself with good people,
Sure.
like, surround yourself with people higher than you, better than you. And so like I met, these guys. I started playing basketball with them consistently. One day I'm wearing a Retro Fitness shirt because, my dad was going to Retro Fitness. I was just wearing his his shirt for basketball.
Yeah.
And then Mike's like, "Oh, Retro?" I was like, yeah, my dad goes there. So I just have the shirt.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I know Retro." He's like, "Oh, I sold that gym." And I was
Which location?
That one was Freeport.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just you're saying a lot. So I just, for our community and the people listening, I want to give some context. So Mike is the founder of Hedgestone, and we're talking to Christian, who works on a team at Hedgestone.
Yeah.
And basically your background on how you got into the brokerage business with Mike, essentially, right? So,
exactly.
so you're saying a lot of things that I think are really important for people to pay attention to, because being surrounded by people and meeting people that do things that are, further along in their career is so important for people who are trying to establish themselves, especially early on, like you were.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, now you're bringing up retro fitness, bringing up, a logo on a t-shirt, and how that sparked a conversation where, Mike's wearing a hat that says Hedgestone. I'm a former club promoter. I promote everything, and that's a big part of business in general. You got to promote. Marketing is huge, and that's why we're doing this podcast. But continue. So finally, you're talking to Mike about a retro fitness shirt.
Yeah, we're talking about a retro fitness shirt. He's like, I sold that gym, and I'm like, what are you talking about? How do you sell a gym? And he's like, yeah, that's what I do. I'm a business broker. I'm like, okay, and then through playing basketball, like, he kind of started telling me about it. And I'm like, I think, Matt started with you. He was, and then I think another guy, Ryan, was also started with you working. I'm like, let me just try it out.
You were like, I'm going to kill it. I'm your guy. And he was so persistent with it.
Yeah.
And then I basically was like, all right, let's go.
So everybody listening, including myself, I know Christian, not extremely well, but we've met several times, right, and we're on, team calls together and things of that nature. But you meet Mike, you're going to kill it, and tell us the process. Like, that's day one. Okay, great. I'm going to join Hedgestone. And, you don't know really anything about selling a business. You're starting from scratch.
Right.
What is the process like? How long? I want to know the real shit. How long does it take you to make your first deal? How big was the check? That's what people listening want to know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was going to get there. But basically, so I tried it. I just want to say I did not want to be a real estate agent at all. Like, I did not want to.
I don't blame you.
I didn't want to do sales. I just wanted to invest, right? But you need money to invest.
Yeah.
And so Mike started telling me about the commissions and the type of people you meet and stuff. I was like, oh, it sounds cool. Let me try it.
Did he go into the difference and how many fewer business brokers there were are than real estate agents? And
so he mentioned he had just mentioned that it's the commissions 10-12%, crazy commissions. I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of crazy. He also said that first of all, I never even heard about it. I never heard of business brokering. Many people don't. Surprisingly,
a lot of people listening are hearing this for the first time.
Yeah. So many people don't. I'm like, okay, this sounds like a non-saturated thing. Let me just try it out. So I started tagging along with Mike on meetings and stuff, and I would just drive around with him all day. In the beginning, he didn't really want to give me the time, but I kind of just tried to earn my stripes and just really show him that look, I'm taking this serious. I'm gonna be a player. I'm not gonna.
So Mike, for you, when did it click for you that he was serious and had what it takes?
When someone wants to learn, when someone has that hustle in them and they'll do anything to go through a wall, I see that, and you can't teach that. You can't teach that. So I saw that in him, and I'm like, you know what? You got to be with me. You got to be with me in every meeting. You got to come with me to Starbucks when we work. You got to come to the office. I need you around me so you can just absorb everything and you can learn.
Yeah,
and that's what he did.
I think that's the biggest lesson for people listening, right? Grit and drive and perseverance and all those things that are very measurable to someone like you or somebody like me. If I'm inviting somebody to be around me and they're operating at a 5, it's like, bro, get the fuck out of here, man. We move at 15s over here, not 5s, right?
Yeah. And your time is valuable.
Of course, but the biggest opportunity for people is to get around people that could actually help get them into business, so to speak, and impress them. But you have to be driven to do that.
Got to be driven to do that. And a famous quote that I always go by is, when you want something done, you go to the busiest guy you know.
I like that. I like that. But you know what? There's a such thing as just being busy and not
Being
productive.
busy and not effective.
Yeah,
But
I've seen a lot of that
yeah,
too.
there is a lot of that.
Yeah.
But we're moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, we're taking steps forward. So continue.
Yep.
So
Yeah, so pretty much, just tagged along with Mike. I just was absorbing everything. I was, we were meeting with some, pretty big players. Even from day one, we were meeting we met with I don't know if you remember the 17 cell phone franchise guy. That meeting was life changing. It was just like a lot of life changing stuff that I was getting around and I was exposing myself to.
Did you ever make a deal with that group?
with that group, they made their own deal.
Okay.
Just the amount of stuff you're learning, the people you're talking to, the education, along the process. Like, look, the money's all so good, of course. You make big commissions, so on and so forth. But for me, it was more about just, being around people that are so way above me, and just while you're just having a conversation with them, just telling them about a listing or anything they inquired about, they're just like, they're talking to you and you're just learning. Like, every day 100%. You're learning.
So you're spending time with Mike. He's like, yo, he's the real deal. Let's go. Next steps. What happens? When you start working on deals?
This guy's
How about talk about your first.
Well, I want everybody to understand the process.
I would like, because, I've seen it. Maybe talk about the first deal that you did when I was in Florida and you handled the closing with the pizza.
Yeah, so my first deal ever was a pizzeria. That was about 3 months in.
You finished a deal in your first 3 months in the business.
Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about that? Because that's crazy.
That's wild.
That's crazy. I mean, that's and again, talking about business brokerage versus real estate, it's not common for real estate agents that are new in the business to make a deal in their first 6 to 12 months, right? Like their first deal, I would say, is probably on average.
I think the average is 9 months.
9 months, yeah, right in the middle. Yeah, so 3 months is extremely fast.
Yeah. It was pretty fast. And even before that, there were some things that could have closed sooner, but, things happen, of course. But,
sure.
But yeah, that was a pizzeria in Brooklyn. It's kind of crazy. I would have never thought my first deal would be like small corner pizzeria all the way in Brooklyn, but.
How did you get the lead listing? Walk us through that deal.
Yeah, actually, Mike got the listing, and when I first started, I would just try to focus on his stuff because 50% of the work was done. He had already got the listing, so let me just do the other 50% and bring buyers to that listing. Yep. So I would just, I would post his listings on different platforms. Every single day I would just post, and just
what platforms?
It was like Craigslist.
Craigslist is huge.
Wow.
Yeah, Craigslist.
Craigslist is underrated. Like, when I started, I posted everything on Craigslist. I found sellers on Craigslist. We found buyers on Craigslist. And I told them, every day post all your listings on Craigslist. You'll get buyers looking. And that's what happened, right?
Yeah. Actually, my second deal was a laundromat from a buyer that I met on Craigslist.
That's amazing. See, we don't even use Craigslist, so that's huge.
Yeah. So, pretty much closed my first deal, and, after 3 months. And, from there, it was just like, it wasn't so much the amount. I made I think 10 grand on that deal.
Okay.
Is what I made, or 13. One of the two.
In your pocket.
Yeah.
That wasn't the gross fee.
That's pocket.
No, the gross was like what, 25 or so? Yeah, I think it was 25 gross.
So okay.
We made like 12.5 or 13 each or whatever. But it wasn't so much the money. It was more like, okay, now we're on to something. Like, this is, the proof is in the pudding. I always believed in it, because Mike is, does a good job at making you believe, of course, but also just like the conversations in the beginning, I was like, all right, this is real, but then when I actually got the commission, I was like, okay, the proof is in the pudding. I learned a skill that I can eat forever on, so I was like, all right, now it's time to, multiply, and, I wasn't satisfied, and even till this day, I'm never satisfied. So just, continue to hit the ground running, and it was kind of history ever since.
So how long ago was that?
That was 4 years ago.
Okay.
Now, fast forward till to now. So you have your own team. How many people do you have under your team?
Including admins and stuff, like back end?
Everybody.
Probably like 15, 16 altogether.
He's got 15, 16 people on his team. You've closed over 15 deals so far this year, right? Something like
this
that?
year for about 15.
Amazing.
15 deals.
Ranging in size from
ranging in size from $100,000 to what, $3 million?
Yeah, from 100 to 3.
Yeah. And what types of deals, like just again, like what type of deals do you guys, does your team focus on?
We do a lot. We focusing a lot on like laundromats, car washes, restaurants, small deals here and there. Do some restaurants. Those are kind of like the in between the big deals, because now at the point that I'm at, I could pretty much like have like 10, 12 deals going at the same time.
Sure.
And like even the small deals, like I'll have them going at the same time. They don't really require. I've kind of like, I'm still learning every day, and I mean this humbly, but I've kind of mastered the game of like having a couple of deals at the same time and getting them to the finish line. So now it's pretty easy. Now I could pretty much, even the big deals too, like the big deals take time. So I'm just doing deals in between, the smaller ones in between. So
it's excellent.
It's awesome. Small deals pay the bills, and then when you hit the big deals, it's the best, right?
Yeah.
It's all gravy.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm just trying to transition to just focusing on big stuff and, kicking the smaller stuff to my team, teaching guys as well, and just helping them learn how to make money as well, teach them
Awesome.
skills.
He brought in actually a hotel. I can't say the name, but we had a meeting with the owner. It's a $45 million deal. We met with the owner 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
2 days ago, we got the listing. And
Is it in New York?
It's in New Jersey.
In New Jersey? Awesome.
And it's a big box hotel, and Christian got the owner, and the owner, we met him to get him down, and it's a reasonable deal. And the commission is, it's going to be a few points, and it's going to be a 7-figure commission.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you source that deal?
We used a couple of different marketing streams. I think that one we did through just snail mail.
Really?
That one was snail mail, yeah.
That's amazing. So do you look up SIC codes basically and target specific uses like laundromats and hotels and?
We were doing that, but this is even simpler. We just
we
just went on Google. It's that easy.
Okay.
Yeah,
it is.
That's
that
actually
easy.
how a lot of my first, actually till this day, I'm still closing deals. Like when I first started or in the beginning, I would just, pay my siblings to just do like handwrite mailers.
Yeah.
I would just have someone do a list for me, like just scrape it off of Google, and have my sisters write mail, and we just send it out.
So it
wasn't too like complex or like super advanced.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. So
But
what would your tips be like for people that are like canvassing and even in real estate, it's a very similar process. So you're saying you keep it kind of simple. It's really behind like it's a volume thing, right? Like if you're putting out enough energy into the universe, things are going to come back.
Absolutely.
What kind of tips would you give to people about how to do that?
Well, now we pretty much are more online.
Okay.
We're just reaching out online. That's a pretty effective method, and doesn't really cost much. So I've been really heavily on that. Just contacting owners on their websites. But yeah, you could definitely do snail mail. A lot of owners aren't online. That's what another reason why I love the business. It's like there's so many different businesses and a lot of different owners that aren't on online platforms. So just send them a letter. They call you, and that's a deal.
Yeah.
Cody Sanchez, she says 10,000 baby boomers retire a day, which I think it's a little high. Maybe it's a week. These baby boomers, like you said, a lot of them are not online.
Yeah.
So with the snail mail, we handwrite the mail.
Okay.
So when they see mail that's printed, they just rip it up.
Right.
And when you handwrite confidential for owner, people open that.
See, that's the tip I was
that's-
looking for right
that's the
there.
gem.
That's magic.
That's it.
That's
and
huge.
that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
gets our conversion rate. So if we send out 100 mails, 5 people, not 5, I would say 2 to 3 people are going to call us from that.
Per 100, right?
Per 100.
Yeah.
That's a great conversion rate.
Yeah, the response rate is pretty crazy.
That's
actually.
huge. But that's kind of what I was looking for. That's the big
That's
differentiator
the
right
handwriting.
there. The
mail,
handwriting.
That's everything.
Because if you're just sending a postcard,
Yeah,
Everybody does that.
everyone does that.
everyone does.
I was
that.
thinking about sending a picture of a check but all these car dealerships, they all do
Yeah,
that.
that's-
The handwritten stuff, even putting it in like the manila folder, handwritten, confidential for owner
Yeah.
only. That's another method, but that costs a little more.
Yeah. Right now we're doing Still working on the snail mail. Now there's like, I've ran into companies that they have like the robots that like do the handwriting for you.
Okay.
So, experimenting with that. And, but right now it's mostly online.
So you guys, when you say handwritten, like you're actually handwriting the entire thing, or is it like a portion of the actual?
No, just the mail.
Just the
on the label?
envelope, on the envelope.
Yeah. So what's inside?
So inside that's a gem. I can't really say exactly.
Okay.
But we,
Along the lines of.
basically the mail that we write out says that we have an interested buyer in your business. If you're interested in selling right now, please give us a call and we have someone we'll talk to you about.
Similar to a flyer you'd get at your house for, from a
Two, three
realtor,
sentences.
Saying that they have people interested in your area. So it's along the same lines.
Yeah.
But the handwriting on the envelope is
Huge.
Is key.
Huge. Because we tested it. So.
Yeah. It makes sense.
It is key. Because,
Personalized.
Yeah, it's personalized. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about, like you said, you're a student of learning, getting better, which you are. I see that every day in you. You have your own team. What are your goals for 2023, 2024? Where do you see yourself at in the next 12 to 18 months?
That's a great question. 12 to 18 months. I really just wanted to stabilize my team, make sure that that's really where my focus is, just stabilizing my team, making sure, my back end is working well, and just building up my sales guys as well. That's what I'm trying to focus on so that we can just do more volume, So, like I said, I have it pretty mastered. I'm still always learning, of course. I'm not, not as good as Mike, but I'm just like learning. So I'm trying to,
kind of do way. You do it great.
But I'm trying to just duplicate like myself, Mike, guys like us that are just hungry, that can just be a sponge. So that's what I'm focusing on, my team. Obviously want to make more money. Want to also purchase businesses as well, but simply just through selling them, you realize like, wow, a laundromat and car wash makes 35-40% profit margins.
So going to that, a laundromat and car wash, when you're selling a business, a lot of the information is not on the tax returns. It's not on the P&Ls. As an experienced business broker, how do you dissect the tax return and find out what the business is really doing? Let's take a car wash, for example.
Yeah. Car washes, at least in New York, you really just go based on their in-house systems, like their point of sale systems. You just you get their expenses, you get their payroll. The tax returns, since it's heavy cash, they don't really have, it's not like as black and white as like a franchise. So it's a little bit more difficult. So you kind of got to read between the lines. But pretty much, you just get friendly with the owner and, get his point of sale system, see his reports. You see he's doing $3 million a year, and that might not be on the tax return. So it's a little bit.
There's always a
difficult.
delta. There's always, there's always 10 to 15% that's not on.
Yeah.
So like you said, POS reports is really the way to do it, because you can't. There's an eye in a tunnel of a car wash, and if you try, every time a car goes in, that eye calculates that car. If you try to void that out, it says when you print out the POS report, voided items out. So you can't fudge the POS numbers. So you got to go by the POS information.
Yeah. So for the layman, in layman terms, are you saying that regardless of how much of the business is actually cash, the POS system picks up every car going through? So that's,
not a lot of people know that.
Right. So, from a reporting standpoint, that's like, it's a little,
it's very risky.
Yeah.
And that's why,
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, it's very risky.
Yeah, it's risky, but there's other, you just educate the buyer on other ways of due diligence. A lot of guys are old school. They just literally sit outside the car wash, count cars, see what's coming in. You get an average price per car.
Does not every POS system do that? Is there like outdated technology essentially where certain old school washes that have not been upgraded
5% of the
at
washes.
this point?
Yeah, at this point.
But what I want to stop and talk about for a second is, for the listener or the viewer, somebody like Mike at his level, the amount of experience he has, the way that when you're breaking down, what we're talking about right now, Mike's brain is, 100 steps ahead thinking about a million different scenarios within one business and how to evaluate it and how to optimize the benefit to the buyer or a fund that's going to buy a portfolio, right? And that's the benefit of, at your stage of the game, you're learning each of these different industries and you're learning about all these businesses. You're at 4 years in, you're a puppy, bro. Love you, you're doing great. But 20 plus years into my craft, your brain starts to think like a machine. And what's amazing about what Mike's doing is, first off, affording people like you opportunities to generate tremendous wealth and then bring on other people and share that knowledge and grow other people. So the impact, the ripple effect of that is tremendous.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, when you're learning about business brokerage, you're also learning about car wash businesses, laundromat business, restaurants. And when you're seeing those deals, you realize that there's potential value and you can invest in those deals too.
Absolutely.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
I think that's an exciting thing for people to learn about.
So I'm basically, and Christian knows this because we're interested in one of his deals that he has. I'm looking at, so we're buying businesses now and we're focusing on the car wash industry because that's really what we know best. So there's ways where we can buy car washes with properties with little to no money down. I can get into this on the next episode. I can talk about it now, but
yeah, we don't need to go into too much detail, but that alone, that concept alone is very valuable. And you're going to be sharing that opportunity as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to invite people that, I trust and that, have the same vision and goals like us three here, to come in and make money on these opportunities, big opportunities right here.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, that is just very special about the space, the business broker space, is just, you realize how behind a lot of these owners are. A lot of, retail businesses, a car wash doesn't have a website, so there's just, through selling these businesses, you see little voids in different spaces, whether it's a laundromat, whether it's a car wash, or whether it's a restaurant.
Yep.
You see a lot of owners and you just kind of get this vision all right, if I took this over, I could add it, something as simple as adding a website, it's a game changer for certain businesses, or increasing prices.
Yep.
It just, aside from the selling, aside from the commission, aside from the learning, you also are learning value add strategies for different businesses. So that's another thing that's amazing about the space, for me too. And it's crazy because I never thought, when I got into this, as I mentioned, that I wanted to be a real estate guy.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a flipper. I wanted to get into business brokering, make some money, and to be honest, leave and just do flip houses.
Yeah.
But just through being here, as a sales guy, you realize, first of all, there's very little to no competition in the space. And secondly, you realize that the opportunity of buying these businesses, I never thought I wanted to buy a business, but, through selling them, you're all right, I could definitely
a lot of opportunity.
make $30K a month or $100K a month, $1 million.
But now you want to buy and flip businesses, right? You're at that point where you want to be on that side of the table where you're buying businesses. And
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Luckily, the space has been rewarding enough to where I can, I've saved some coin, and now I'm kind of have my buyer hat on and looking at different businesses and be on the other side, because I
Amazing. I want to point out because, again, when we talk about the success you've had in a relatively short amount of time, right? Again, commercial real estate brokerage, it took me a lot longer to get where I would, to get to your stage in commercial real estate brokerage. Mike giving you the opportunity. I think it's always important to give people flowers.
Absolutely.
Like my partner now, Ken Breslin, who gave me the opportunity when I was young to do the same thing. And my question for you is, if you didn't discover this and you didn't meet Mike on the basketball court, as we're wrapping this all up, where do you think you'd be right now? And do you think you're further ahead as a result of that basketball, game? And what do you, I'm just curious because.
Yeah, definitely a lot more ahead of, where I would have been.
Yeah.
Definitely, absolutely. I'm super grateful every day that I came across Mike. I think about it all the time. I would have probably still tried the real estate thing. I would have succeeded. It's just, I know for sure, like, it's just kind of in my blood. You guys know.
No matter what, you're
100%.
gonna succeed.
It's just
yeah.
like in your
100%.
blood, like,
Yeah.
know you're going to succeed no matter
Definitely.
what you do, no matter what you put your mind to. And that's always kind of been in me. So I probably would have tried the real estate thing, made it work out some way or another.
Would it have been residential? What do you think?
I would have tried the residential first.
like brokerage to learn more about investing, essentially. Or
Yeah, I would have probably, to be honest, done like wholesaling,
okay,
which is kind of a similar. It's very similar space. Like business brokering and wholesaling is very similar,
okay,
which is what I was trying to do as well. But business brokering just seemed a lot easier and just
Yeah.
better. So
yeah, and the opportunity came your way,
yeah.
right? And you take it's all about really like rising to the occasion and understanding when good opportunities cross your path, because they do.
And capitalizing on
Yeah.
it, because a lot of, we bring on guys all the time. We're at the point where, people come to us, they want to join our team or whatever, but the opportunity is only as good as you make it.
Yeah.
Like if, you can have, you can have gold in your hands, but if you don't know what to do with it, you don't capitalize, you don't put the work in, it's worthless.
It's really any sales role. You got to be self-motivated. You got to be
Discipline.
discipline and take rejection. Right, you got to learn to have a thick skin. All of those things. You got to like get through that, on your own. You have to have I think a resilience and a mental toughness kind of attitude where you can take the punches and just keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And Christian, just one question. Could you define, just for the audience, because maybe people don't know this, what is a business broker? Could you explain what it is exactly?
The simplest way to put it is a business broker is basically a real estate agent, except instead of selling houses or commercial buildings, you're just selling businesses, so you're just putting that business in the best light for a buyer, and you're just presenting the opportunity in a way that a buyer sees value, and a buyer's like, all right, I can do this, I can make more money here, and you're just selling the business for the owner.
And in New York, do you need a license to sell a business?
No,
That's amazing.
no, which is another reason what drew me to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really
100%.
amazing. And Mike, are you hiring?
We're hiring, but we're at the point where we're only hiring people that are basically going to be full-time and are going to take this to another level with us and have the same alignment and mindset.
And what other opportunities are there for people to learn more about business brokerage?
The best way to learn about it is definitely go on headstone.com, go on SBX, read about business brokering from our website. And if you're interested, go to the Join Us page and register.
It's awesome. Christian, keep up the great work, man.
Thanks.
Awesome to see your success.
Thank
and
you.
I can't wait to see where you'll be in 4 years from now. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, we're all.
And we're going to do lots of deals together. That's the beauty of this.
That's the beauty
That's
of
the fun
this.
part.
Yeah.
So
Excited.
many deals on the perimeter and also doing deals on the buying side.
Yep.
Just think about your head where it was 4 years ago to where it is now, and now imagine another 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
crazy.
it's definitely a space that you just grow tremendously. Even yourself, I'm sitting. I've been with Mike 4 years, and I just see the growth in him as well. Just because he's talking to guys as well. Everything's happening to me. It's happening to him. He's talking to bigger players. He's learning, growing, getting beaten down.
Yeah.
At the same time, still rising. So I'm going through the same thing, and it's a great space.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, brother.
Thank
Absolutely,
you.
Great
man.
work.
Thanks for having me.
It's a great show.